Leinster enter Champions Cup knockouts as underdogs, says Matt Williams. Former Scotland head coach Matt Williams has suggested that Leinster Rugby head into the knockout stages of the Investec Champions Cup with the tag of underdogs, a position rarely associated with the Irish Giants. Under the calm leadership of Leo Cullen, Leinster have demonstrated quality in European competition, yet their domestic performances in the United Rugby Championship, URC, this season have been more erratic, leading to an unusual scenario where the province is no longer the dominant force in Irish rugby they are accustomed to being. Leinster's European form contrasts domestic inconsistency. Leinster's pool stage campaign in the Champions Cup has been near flawless. The men in blue won all 4 of their matches, showcasing a blend of experience and tactical acumen, and underlining why they remain one of Europe's most formidable sides. Yet in the domestic league, their performances have often been less convincing. Out of 14 URC fixtures this season, they have secured 9 wins, a respectable record, but not one that mirrors the dominance typically expected from the province. Still Ireland's premier hope for silverware. Despite domestic struggles, Williams maintains that Leinster are still Ireland's best hope for European and domestic silverware. Writing for the Irish Times, he outlined how Leinster, even in an underdog role, remain the best-positioned Irish province entering the Champions Cup knockout rounds, 1 week out from the Champions Cup round of 16, and once again it is Leinster, under the calm and careful guidance of Leo Cullen, who are the best-positioned of the Irish provincial teams. Williams wrote, this year, instead of being front-runners, Leinster are coming around the final curve in the unfamiliar position of 1 wide and 1 back. The men in blue are happily watching the pressure that is usually on them clamp onto the shoulders of others. This statement reflects a significant shift in Leinster's current psychological and competitive positioning. Rather than carrying the burden of expectation as preordained favourites, they now approach the Champions Cup with the freedom of underdogs, a status that could allow them to thrive under less pressure while their rivals shoulder the weight of expectation. Impact of British and Irish Lions tour fatigue. A major factor influencing Leinster's domestic form this season has been the aftereffects of last year's British and Irish Lions tour to Australia, led by Andy Farrell. A substantial portion of Leinster's squad were selected for the Lions, meaning that during the first 3 quarters of the season, Cullen had to manage a depleted roster, with players returning from international duty often fatigued or sidelined by injury. Williams highlighted this point as a key explanation for the province's domestic struggles, with almost his entire team selected on last year's Lions tour. The first 3 quarters of this season have been more than difficult for Cullen to manage. As the business end of the season approaches, a string of top internationals who have been absent with injury or national team duties look poised to return. When they return, Leinster will once again be a formidable outfit. Indeed, as internationals return from injury or national team obligations, Leinster's strength in depth becomes apparent. Their backline creativity, forward dominance, and bench strength allow them to recover from early inconsistencies and present a formidable challenge to any European opponent. Defensive concerns. Williams calls for changes while acknowledging Leinster's potential. Williams did not shy away from highlighting concerns, particularly regarding defensive structure. The former Scotland coach, known for his tactical insight, argued that Leinster's defensive system, under the guidance of Jacques Nienaber, remains flawed in certain areas. Williams pointed to last season's Champions Cup semi-final loss to Northampton Saints as a cautionary tale. In that game, Northampton exploited defensive gaps, particularly from set-piece situations, scoring 5 tries, the same number as Leinster, to edge a dramatic 37-34 victory. According to Williams, Leinster remain vulnerable to such attacks unless adjustments are made. I hope it is simply a bunch of old guys getting it wrong, but I have not spoken to a single former Leinster player who is not concerned with the club's defensive system, which is still leaving huge tracts of space out wide unmarked, especially from scrum set plays. Space that good teams will exploit, as Northampton did in last year's Champions Cup semi-final. His critique is not limited to European matches. Williams also highlighted defensive deficiencies within the domestic league. Leinster's tendency to allow unmarked spaces, particularly on the flanks during set-piece plays, has led to periods of vulnerability that have allowed opponents to mount scoring threats even when the team has dominated possession. Munster also under scrutiny. Williams extended his defensive critique to Leinster's Irish rivals, Leinster Rugby, noting that their season could also falter if defensive intensity and tackle commitment are not addressed. Munster's season is not yet over, but without a huge change in their passion and desire to tackle, it will be soon. This perspective underlines a broader theme in Irish rugby. While teams may boast strong attacking capabilities, defensive frailties can prove decisive in both domestic and European competition. Williams' observations suggest that the traditional dominance of Irish provinces may be more contingent on discipline and defensive structure than ever before. Leinster's resurgence against Scarlets. Despite defensive concerns, Leinster demonstrated their offensive potency recently in a 6-try victory over Scarlets, a result that highlighted their ability to return to dominant form when cohesion and fitness align. The match provided a blueprint for how the team could perform in high-stakes European fixtures: clinical finishing, fluid attacking patterns, and relentless pressure on the opposition. Similarly, other Irish teams, such as Glasgow Warriors, have also shown that top-tier URC sides can deliver high-scoring performances, indicating the increasing standard of competition within the league and highlighting the importance of both offense and defense as teams enter the Champions Cup knockout stages. The underdog mindset. What is particularly intriguing about Leinster's current position, according to Williams, is the psychological shift that accompanies being labelled underdogs. For a team accustomed to being the benchmark, there is a subtle freedom in observing pressure fall on others. The men in blue, Williams argues, may benefit from watching their rivals wrestle with expectations while they operate without the traditional weight of favoritism. In high-pressure tournaments like the Champions Cup, this mindset can translate into fearless rugby, attacking with creativity, exploiting opponent mistakes, and using their experience to remain composed under duress. While domestic inconsistencies may have raised eyebrows earlier in the season, Williams believes that Leinster have the tools, experience, and depth to thrive when it matters most. Looking ahead, Champions Cup knockouts. As the Champions Cup round of 16 approaches, the focus for Leinster is on blending returning internationals with established players who have maintained consistency through the season. The challenge will be to shore up defensive vulnerabilities while maximizing attacking strengths, a balance that has defined Cullen's tenure at Leinster. With the return of injured players and international stars, the squad is poised to regain the formidable edge that has made them perennial European contenders. Williams' assessment suggests that, even in the unfamiliar role of underdogs, Leinster remain the Irish province best placed to claim silverware. Conclusion: a season of transition. This season represents a period of transition for Leinster, a time when injuries, international duty, and fatigue have combined to place them in an unusual position within both domestic and European competitions. While performances have been less dominant than in previous seasons, the return of key personnel, coupled with strategic adjustments to defensive systems, positions the team well for a strong finish. Matt Williams' analysis highlights the dual narrative of Leinster's season: domestic inconsistency juxtaposed with European potential, defensive concerns offset by attacking firepower, and a shift from favorites to underdogs that may provide a psychological advantage. As the Champions Cup knockouts commence, all eyes will be on Leinster to see if they can translate experience, depth, and resilience into a run that restores their status as one of Europe's elite rugby clubs. The stage is set for a compelling finale to the season, with Leinster looking to prove that even as underdogs, they remain a force to be reckoned with, capable of winning silverware and reclaiming the dominance that has long defined Irish rugby's most successful province.